Good morning. It's Friday, June 3rd. I want to talk about productivity. So, yesterday I did a post with some recently thrown pots and did another post talking about how many I would need to do to be stocked as well as I'd like to be stocked for this big fair I'm going to in August. And quick note about the fair. This fair that I talk about, that's my biggest of the year. It's unusual in that it's part of a living history thing, and so it's in effect a tent city that's up for 2 weeks. So it's completely unlike fairs that most other potters participate in. Unless you happen to be, say, part of a Renaissance festival or something where you may have a 15-day commitment over the course of 7 weekends, that kind of stuff. Anyway, so what's normal? I want to talk about what's normal productivity. To start off with, I don't much like the word normal. The joke is normal is just a laundry setting. Normal too often gets equated with correct, which then gets you into incorrect, which gets into people telling you you're doing wrong. I don't want to go there. But there are some patterns that develop. Okay, so when you start, it is completely abnormal to make pots. Nobody just, makes pots. Even the children of potters don't just make pots. I mean, some of them may wander down into the studio and do it, or some of them may be forced to do it by their parents. In my case, neither situation happened. I have not forced my kids to learn to make pots, and they have not chosen to make pots on their own. So we can say, as a starting point, that it is not normal to make any pots at all. Okay. When you're in school, it can be somewhat normal, depending on your personality, to make most of your pots towards the end of the semester when the deadlines are approaching. And that doesn't generally improve the quality of the pots at all. When I started, we had a size issue with the kiln. That is to say, the kiln wasn't very big. And so my instructor had to do the math and figure out how many firings she could do and how much space there could, and how many pots he could do. So we actually had a maximum. If you were doing thrown pots, you were prohibited from doing more than 36 in a semester. That is 36 finished through the kiln. You could throw as many as you want and so forth, but you just had to edit, and you were only allowed to glaze fire 36 pots. Since then, I've joked with fellow grads of that program that we should go back and do the semester's assignment in a day, or a weekend. Throw the 36 on Saturday, trim them on the Sunday. Of course, that becomes a horrible role model that implies that you should do all your semester's work in one weekend, and that gets back to what is a normal production. Okay, so for some operations, normal can be dozens of pots an hour, over 100 a day. But of course, that isn't making stuff that's very detailed. It's not making stuff that's involving multiple pieces coming together or large scale or so forth and so on. So what you have to do is work out what your own normal is. And that's going to change based on time of year, which gets me to where I am now. So now I'm in a situation where ideally I need to be creating 75 pots a week. So 25 a day, 25. So I did 26 yesterday. I need to trim and handle them today. They can be drying, so forth, and I can throw another the 25, 26 tomorrow, so forth and so on. And this is all pretty deadline driven, which doesn't necessarily mean that it's painful or annoying. It's just time consuming. This is just a matter of budgeting time. This also means that this isn't really a good time for me to be exploring new forms or working out challenges. No, this is a time to work out, to just create pots I know how to create. This is also not a good time for doing very highly detailed stuff or doing commissions for people that have to be, precise in a certain way. And it's part of why I tell people making pots for that sometimes there are big, long delays in delivery because depending on the time of the year, I'm either not making pots at all, or like now, I'm making, regular old beer mugs in large numbers, in what are, for me, large numbers. So try not to get bullied about what's normal, either by other potters or by your situation, by your schedule. If you're working too hard, you're going to end up not being able to work at all. The process will break you down. So plan for that. Pay attention to that. And work out what's normal, what's correct for you, because it's not the same for any two potters. Never. So, good luck.